Hello, this is Canadian Alarms. And today this is gonna be the first video of many in this series called Retro Fire Alarms. So this will be a review of fire alarms between the 1950s and 1990. So between there and then. So to start off with, we got the an Edwards 2280. If you remember in my older videos, I used to have one, but unfortunately I got rid of it, and this one I was able to acquire again. These panels were really unique. They were kind of like, I guess, the FA1, well, not really the FA1000s of the time. That would be a 6500, or yeah, 6500 at the time. But this was like a mid-range panel. It was pretty expandable. It was expandable to 8 zones, and then you can have another chassis mounted next to it in another cabinet, be expandable to 16 zones. And each chassis came up with 4 bell circuits. And the bell circuits on these, they're all, well, first of all, they're all card based. I'll get into a separate section of the cards, but the bell circuits had breakers on them, so you can push these in, and it would disconnect them, and these would trip. Pretty smart idea back in the day. This panel only does continuous. That's all it does. There's a ground fault. There's a battery fault, sorry, and there's a ground fault, which the charger, and I'll get into that in more detail. There's an AC power light, a trouble, signal silence, fire department disconnect. Now this is unique because there's a disconnect here and there's a normal and a disconnect, which has been broken off on this one, which I will have to fix. There's a reset button, a signal silence button, or sorry, that's a trouble silence, signal silence, and a lamp test, which just tests all the alarm LEDs. And then up here, you get 2 breakers. One's a battery, and one's the AC. You get another breaker for your remote annunciator. You have, I believe these are the relays. If you had a door here, which I don't have a door, we would give you a little diagram. This is the annunciation connection. So these are jumpered out right now. So your zones, so you get 4 bell circuits at the top, and you get your 8 zones all the way through here. So this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this runs off of TTL logic, which I'm not 100% sure what it stands for, but this was before all the microprocessing based stuff that they have nowadays. And it's pretty much instant activation. Like you'll hear it. Like I don't have anything hooked up, but you'll hear the relays click like almost instantaneously. So you're in trouble. I don't have batteries hooked up, and then you can reset it. These are unique panels for what they are, and I'll get right back to you. All right, so as you can see, I got the dress cover panel off the chassis, and that's sitting over here, and you can see that the LEDs and the buttons are all built into this like shroud, and they all go through a connector like that, which goes into this main board. Now, there's a couple things with this main board, and well, I guess we'll start from the input side. So you have your 120 volts up here, goes through a breaker into just a typical transformer, comes down in here, your AC into a rectifier, full bridge rectifier, through a smoothing capacitor. So this actually has filtered DC, believe it or not, and then goes through power or voltage regulation. And then on the main board, we have the card slots. Now there is there 8 slots, 6, 7 slots on the chassis, and down here there's a couple jumpers here. So I'm not sure what this does. That one, put that jumper out. This is your battery lead, and there's a different, and there's a service lead. This is how you connect your next cabinet over. So you want to expand this to a 16 zone panel. This is how it would connect up. Now, there's different cards that you can get for these things. And I'll start just pulling these out. All right, so now the panel's empty, basically. So I'm gonna go over each card, and this is gonna be the first card we're gonna go over, and this is the charging card. Now this panel is what, almost 40 years old. It's from 1973 or something like that. It's getting up there, right? So these panels are still in service. This panel was still in service until about a month and a half ago, once this card bit the dust. Now these cards on these panels keep biting the dust. I don't know why. It's a charging circuitry on this. It just goes wonky between and you can try to adjust it with this potentiometer, but once you do that, these things are just gone. They're just done. And this also has your ground fault detection on this card. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. And actually, this card has gone bad, and I'll show you what it does. And as you can tell, that it just beeps very quietly, and the panel's dead in the front. All right, now moving on to the next part, and this is the the common controls card. Most Edwards panels, the 6616, 6632, 6500s, 2280s. There's probably a whack ton more panels than that. Mirror tone. And they all use something that's called a common controls card. Now either they go in the first slot of the rack, or they have a spot for them. But this is basically, well, the modern day term would be a CPU, but this is the common controls card. This does everything the panel does. And there's some jumpers on here, like this is a minute inhibit. I'm not sure what that, maybe just a minute. And there's an 8-minute something here. TLC 8-minute something, I'm not sure what that stands for. Very basic technology, just through-hole technology. You know, this is from 1973. And GA1. I'm not sure what this is. The manual for this is a schematic. It's not like an owner's manual or anything. So I'll have to take a look. These are one of these is the transfer relay between AC and DC. No, sorry, that's on here. Never mind. These are one of them is your alarm contact. There's a couple other relays here for your supervisory and trouble relays for your auxiliary is on here. Not sure what this does. That potentiometer. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much that card on the piezo's right here, or the buzzer. All right, bell cards next. Now, there's not a whole lot to this. Pretty much all Edwards bell cards look fairly similar. The 6500s look somewhat similar to this even. They just have incandescent bulbs. It's a little bigger. and they have pins on the back all the way across, but this has that. So these are breakers on here. You can push these in and they'll disconnect. If it goes over 4.5 amps, these will trip. These just pop out. You just push them back in to reset them. And the trouble lights are on here as well. Just put that over there. And next is, well, the zone card. Now there's different types of cards you can buy, or you could get. But this one is just an alarm card. So you have these, I believe these are transistors unless they are SCRs, but these give power to 2-wire smokes. So this card can have 2-wire smokes, and that's why there's a heat sink on these. And there's an alarm LED, and then there's a trouble LED for each zone. So this is a 2-zone card. They all come in 2-zone cards. Yeah, you can get different trouble. You can get like supervisory cards and a couple other things, but this is what you mainly see. On the backboard itself, I know like the 6616s and stuff like that, there's a resistor, I think it's over here, that if the card's not installed, it's in place, and if you are installing a card, you cut it off. But on this, you have a little jumper. If you're not using that spot, you just insert that into that slot, and that will keep the panel happy. Now, this is where the charging card plugs into. This is the main power input right here. This is the front display cable. This is the common controls slot. You can have, this is a bell, these two are bell circuits, as you can tell, signal circuit, indicating circuits, or your initiating circuits are all right here. So this does only 8, and you can see that they're labeled on the board. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up here, you have your relay contacts. Not sure what that does. This is your annunciation output right here. This is the zones. This is all, these other ones that don't have resistors go to these 2 cards that are not currently installed. There's 4 circuits up here. Those are all your bell circuits, and then from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 initiating circuits. All right, I think that pretty much sums it up. The first video of a couple, and again, sorry for the long wait. I've been really busy with school and a couple other things, but I hope to get back into this. I do have a couple things coming from CJ9899 in the next maybe month or 2. Go and check out his channel. I know one of his earlier videos, he just uploaded that. Well, you can see what I'm getting. But anyway, thanks, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, see you later.